All right, guys. Our next guest is the World Series of Fighting Featherweight champion and will be defending his title against the Polish Hammer, Chris Horodecki, at World Series of Fighting on June 5th. He is none other than Lance the Party Palmer. Lance, welcome to Submission Radio. How you going?
It's going good, man. Just finished up a workout. I'm out here with Joseph Benavidez for UFC 187, so we're just getting him ready to get down to weight for tomorrow's weigh-ins, and I'm 2 weeks out, so just staying sharp.
There you go. The party's happening. Now, I want to talk about this nickname. It seems kind of obvious. You're a fun guy, hence Lance the Party Palmer. But is there a backstory behind the name that we're missing?
Not really. I mean, I've just been, I always like to have a good time in and out of practice and into the gym and outside of the gym. And I'm just, I like to have fun with everybody and try and be, a fun person to be around with a positive attitude. And that's kind of how it came about.
Awesome. Well, you're on the right program, Lance. Now, in terms of your fighting, you're a fantastic wrestler, a four-time All-American Ohio State University. What's it like training at Team Alpha Male where most of the guys are fantastic wrestlers themselves?
It's awesome. Everybody has the same mentality, then that's kind of what attracts everyone to go there. And Urijah, he has a knack for finding people with the same attitudes and the same goals, and that's what made it easy for, me to want to go there when I talked to him. And when I was graduating college, and, Chad Mendes had just moved there 2 years before that, and TJ Dillashaw 2 years before me as well. So it was just a no-brainer for me, because even though those guys weren't that big of names in MMA yet, I knew they were, tough wrestlers and they had tough mentalities, and that's really what attracted me to be there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, speaking of that move, I mean, coming all the way from Columbus, Ohio, now we've Googled the maps, and Columbus is like on the very other side of America when it comes to California. What was it that made you want to train at Team Alpha Male, of all places, coming so far?
Just what I said before. Everybody, we attract the same mentality, and that's the law of attraction. Faber's the type of guy who's always positive. He has a great mentality about every situation, whether it's positive or negative. You could turn it into a positive, and that's kind of the way our team trains, and we always train to make each other better, and we give each other good looks. And it's just if I was going to do MMA instead of continuing to wrestle at the world and Olympic level, it was going to be with a team that I mended well with, and so that's why Team Alpha Male was the place for me.
Now, just curious, Lance, with so many high-level guys there, like you mentioned, Urijah, Joseph, Chad, TJ, how does it work with so many big fights coming up? Are the camps usually centered around a certain fighter, or does everybody train together all the time regardless of who's got what fight coming up?
We train together regardless. The biggest thing is having guys in the gym outside of their fight camp. So if you don't have a fight coming up, most of the time you're still in the gym helping your teammates, getting ready, and every fight for each individual is a big fight for the team, because we all want our team to win individually and as a team. So it's one of those things where, even if you're not in training camp, you're in there helping the guys get ready for their fights. And we're more of a family atmosphere than just a team. So that's kind of where that goes into play also.
Sure. Now, obviously, you're a fantastic wrestler. Your last couple of wins have come via rear naked choke. Duane Ludwig was the head coach for a long time down there and helped everybody with their striking. What was it like working with Duane, and how much of an impact did it have on your improved striking?
Well, I mean, my last fight, I landed a head kick and I landed some leg kicks, and used my striking to set up my takedowns and stuff like that. My last couple fights have kind of shown that more and more. Obviously, my ground game is where I feel like I can compete with anyone in the world, you name it. So I think it's just he helped bring a different type of technique, skill set into Team Alpha Male, and even though he's not at our gym anymore, we still use his kickboxing drills, and we still work his techniques.
And it's interesting because one of our good friends, Martin Kampmann, he's always on the show. He's become the new head coach over there. What kind of changes has there been since Martin entered the picture? We imagine there's a lot more poker being played at the gym.
I don't know. I know Martin's a poker player, but I don't know. I'm not sure, how he does with that. But I mean, it's been cool having Martin there. He's learning the game of trying to be a coach and stuff like that. But we're such a great team that it's hard to follow up with anybody, like Duane, as Duane had such a structure coming in, and he had his own skill set and everything that's hard to kind of follow up with that. And Martin's doing his best to learn the coaching side of it, because he's been a fighter for so long, and learn how to hold mitts and stuff like that, which I'm sure is challenging for him. And when Duane first came in, he taught all of us to hold Dutch drills and hold mitts for each other during practices. So I think that's the biggest thing. When you come in being a coach for such an elite team, it's going to be hard to kind of show us something we've never seen before.
That's a good point. Now, let's talk about you. You won the featherweight title at World Series of Fighting 16 in your last fight against Rick Glenn in your own backyard of Sacramento, California. You, of course, submitted Glenn in the third round via rear naked choke. Was there pressure on you fighting on home turf?
Not at all. It was awesome fighting at home. First they told me, 5 weeks out that it was going to be in Vegas, and then, 4 weeks before the fight, they said it was going to be in Sacramento. So that wasn't really on my mind at all. Wherever the fight was going to be, the focus was on winning the title. So, it could have been anywhere. It could have been in my actual backyard behind the house, and I still would have fought the same way. I just, my focus at that time was winning that belt and bringing it back home. And now the goal is to go out there and defend the belt, because nobody's defended the featherweight title successfully yet in World Series of Fighting. So I'm going to be happy to go out there and be the first one to do it.
Well, you make a really good point, Lance. Obviously, you'll be defending it against Chris at World Series of Fighting 21. Many people say, like you just said, that the first defense is what solidifies a champion as a champion. Now, do you believe in that theory? And is there any pressure on you in having a successful defense? Because like you mentioned, people have been able to do it.
Well, for me, it's not. I mean, nobody's done it yet for the featherweight division in World Series of Fighting, so it'll be awesome to be the first one to do that. But also, it's not just, I don't go out there to just say I'm going to defend the belt. I'm going out there to look better than I did last fight, to improve from last fight, to show more improvements than I did last fight, and just, go out there and put on a great performance, too. Each fight for me is about winning. My mentality is to go out and win no matter what it takes. And, the belt's just a bonus in the whole equation.
Now, let's talk about Chris. What sort of weaknesses do you see in the Canadian, and what are some flaws in the game that you think you can take advantage of?
I'm not going to get into it too much, but, there's a lot of things that my coaches see and that I see. And, he's been in the game so long, he's got a lot of habits that are going to be hard to break if he even is trying to break those habits. So there's a lot of things that I see, a lot of openings that I see, and I look to capitalize on them.
It's interesting that you mentioned that he's been in the game for so long. Obviously, he's had almost 30 fights. Do you think his experience will be a factor at all as a benefit to him?
I mean, experience is always good, but it's, it depends whether that experience is positive or negative. And, he's been in some, he's fought some good guys and stuff like that, but, I don't think he's fought anybody like me. And I'm still getting to my peak, and he's fought a lot of guys when they were at their peak or past their peak. And, I still haven't found my peak performance yet. So it's one of those things where, you can't look past somebody, and you definitely can't, guarantee the win. You have to go out there and put on a great performance and go out there and execute your game plan. So that's just what I'm going out there looking to do. And, he's been around for a long time. He's a veteran of the sport. He knows his stuff. He trained with a great camp, and, Mark Hominick was, he was a great fighter, and I'm sure he's a great coach. But, I'm not fighting Mark Hominick. I'm fighting Chris Horodecki.
Yeah, good points. Now, your last fights have come at about 6-month intervals. As a young guy in the sport, how are you finding the schedule? Do you like having extra time to train in between fights, or would you rather fight more often in order to get more experience?
I think either way is fine for me. I'd like to fight more often, and, it's a career. So as long as I'm making money each of those 6 months, that's fine. So I'm not too worried about that. I've been getting so much better in between my fights. So I've come out in each fight looking like a different fighter. So it's, the 6-fight increment's been kind of bad for my opponent, but it's been great for me.
Sure. We're gonna wrap up the interview, Lance, with something fun. It's something we call the Submission Radio Tap Out Round. All your teammates have done it multiple times. TJ, Uriah, Chad Mendes, and the Beefcake himself. Basically, we ask you a whole bunch of fun. Yeah, you can ask them about it. We ask you a whole bunch of fun questions. This is the getting to know you round, and you answer with the first thing that comes to mind, kind of like word association. Are you ready?
Oh yeah, I'm always ready.
Excellent.
Like
All right.
meat.
What was it like getting your nipples pierced, and how much did it hurt, and also why, Lance?
Depends which time. I've had them pierced 3 different times, just because I would get sick of them, then want them again, and then get sick of them and want them again. But the 3rd time hurt the worst because there's the most scar tissue. But I think it hurts way worse than getting your dick pierced.
Yeah, we would not know.
Have you ever considered making your entrance to the Party Boy theme from Jackass and giving people a dance on the way? Shiny silver thong would be optional, Lance.
I think it would be awesome. Like when I walk out for a fight, I'm already kind of in the zone to fight. But I think if I was able to, if it was one of those situations where I could do that, I think it would be awesome. Maybe later in my career when I'm, when it's, past my prime, or if I'm just in one of my last few fights, I think it'd be awesome. But I think I would just walk out with just the thong on, and then when I get out there, then I'll put my fight shorts on.
Or you could do it afterwards. Like, let's say you win the fight, you beat Chris, Bas comes in the ring to interview you, and then, ask you a question like, what do you think of the fight? And then you're like, I know my destiny. Boom, off come the shorts, Party Boy music, and then the dancing.
That'd be sick if I had a thong on under my shorts.
Exactly.
That would be awesome.
Yep, no one will see it coming. Lance, what's the craziest party story you can tell us? And keep in mind, Lance, that children never ever listen to this show, so you're good to go.
Honestly, I don't know. I've had so many that are pretty out of control, but I've had a couple where me and TJ Dillashaw woke up naked together one time, but that's pretty much that's pretty much one of the craziest ones. But I can tell you that nothing weird happened. We were both passed out, and we were living in Vegas coaching the Ultimate Fighter at the time. So it was pretty funny because we were on different floors, but we lived in the same exact setup of a room. So both of our rooms looked identical, and we were both blacked out. And he must have thought that he was in his room, so he laid out all of his stuff out like in the bathroom on the counter, and he just got in bed, and we didn't even know we were in the same bed as each other because we had pillows between each other, and we were just blacked out. And we woke up, and our buddy Tommy walked in the room, and I was in the shower, and he's like, "Who's in there with you?" And I was like, "Nobody. Why?" And he's like, "Somebody's in there." And he walked over there, and TJ got up, and he was butt naked too, and we were like, "What the fuck?" And it was hilarious. We were just had a crazy night out. We came back, we wrecked the whole apartment, threw chairs and broke the tables and stole furniture. It was a pretty good time though. It was that was probably one of the more memorable ones.
Yeah, we're not forgetting that anytime soon.
Now, Lance, let's get serious for a second. You're from Columbus, Ohio, is that correct?
Yes. Well, from
What?
Cleveland area, but I went to school in Columbus.
Okay. You're from the Cleveland area. That explains it, because we were on your Twitter and we were shocked to see you're supporting the Cleveland Cavaliers in the NBA playoffs. We didn't realize they were your team.
Yeah.
What's going on, Lance?
Yeah, I'm a Cleveland fan for life, and I'm actually more of a LeBron fan. I've known LeBron since I was a freshman in high school, and he was a senior in high school. My nephew's mom is a family friend of LeBron, so I've known him for a long time. And when he went to Miami, everyone hated him, but I followed him there, and I was a big Miami fan, and I always support the hometown people, and LeBron's from that area, so I'm always going to support him.
Well, have you had any contact with LeBron since? Is he a fan of MMA, LeBron? Does he ever watch you guys?
Actually, he owns a management company, and they manage Johnny Manziel and a couple other guys, and I actually spoke with them about managing me last year, and I didn't end up doing it just because I didn't know how they would be as far as MMA, because they're not really in the MMA world, but they're great people, and they always support their hometown people, so I'm sure they're fans of the Cleveland MMA fighters like Stipe Miocic and Jessica Ai, and myself and Cody Garbrandt.
Two favorites, two people that we had on the show just recently. All right, Lance,
Nice.
last question, a bit of a long one, all right? Your nickname is The Party. This is not so much a question, it's a test. Nickname is The Party, but we're not quite convinced. We're semi-convinced after that last story you told us, but not quite. So we're going to test you on just how much of a party animal you are with this simple quiz based on hypothetical situations, all right? So, the scenario one. You've got a huge party coming up with all the big names. You got Brad Pitt, Will Smith, Jennifer Lawrence, Kim Kardashian. Everyone's going to be there. Question is, what kind of cheese are you supplying at this shindig? Is there any crackers? What's the cheese situation?
The cheese?
Yeah, the most important part of every party.
I would go with some pepper jack. I'm a pepper jack guy myself. Maybe some pepper jack, some Monterey cheddar. You know, try and get some of that going with the crackers, but I don't think anybody would be worried about the cheese and crackers if Kim Kardashian's ass was walking around the party.
I disagree. I think it'd be dead even. I think people will be like, do I go see Kim? Do I go see her ass, or do I go get the pepper jack? I've heard good things about the Gouda. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'd want to see what her Famunda cheese tastes like, but I don't know. We'll see.
All right, doing well so far. Scenario 2. It's a party in California, so of course there's a pool involved. Guests are free to swim, dive, skinny dip, and even eat in the pool like the guy from Juice Bigelow. The one thing the guests will not be able to do is run near the pool, Lance. No running, all right? It's dangerous, and it's a breach of occupational health and safety. Lance, we want to know, how many signs do you have set up around the perimeter to advise guests that running will not be tolerated?
How many signs?
Yeah. Can't run around the pool.
I wouldn't put any because people are going to be dumb enough to run anyway, so I probably wouldn't put any out there. I would just make an announcement, no running by the pool. If you fall and bust your ass, it's your own fault. But most people I'd let the chicks run around the pool because then if they fall and a titty flops out, it's fun for everybody.
It's true. It's fun. Health inspector wouldn't like it, but it's fun. All right, scenario 3.
The health inspector would love it. You know those sick fucks.
Of course we do. All right, scenario 3. You're buying a new pair of trousers for this big event, all right, as you wanted to make an impression. You're trying the pants on, and by now you've already noticed that the store assistant is pretty cute. The two of you converse about books, jazz flutes, and furniture made from rich mahogany when the subject of said party is brought up. She asks where this party will be. Now, do you respond with, and you've got three choices of response, all right?
I already know my answer. I'll hear it. Let's hear it, though.
All right. Well, you've got 3 choices, all right? The first choice is the party's in my pants.
There it is.
The second choice, hang on, the other two are the party is within my pants, or C, the party is in and around my pants. Which one do you choose?
I wouldn't say it's in and around my pants because I would say that if the party was in and around her mouth.
Yep.
So I would say the party is within my pants, and my pants would be tight black leather jeans so she could see the outline of my jaw.
All right, it's true. You are officially a party animal. Dennis, where can the good people follow Lance on Twitter?
They could check Lance out on Twitter. Before we jump to that, Lance, as we wrap this up, we have to get serious once again.
Of course.
For everybody listening there at home, give us the prediction. How are you winning at World Series Fighting 21? How are you defending your title? How's the victory going to come?
I'm going for a knockout. I mean, I'm never headhunting and looking for the knockout, but I have a good feeling about this one that the knockout's going to come. Last fight, I worked a little more in my hands, and I was able to land some heavy punches, and Rick Glenn was a tough guy, and I had to take him down and submit him. But I think this one I'll be able to get the TKO or the KO.
Well, there you guys go. Make sure to follow Lance Palmer on Twitter at Lance Palmer. Of course, World Series of Fighting 21, guys. Don't miss out. It's going to be a great, great event. If you are trying to check out the event, make sure to find it somewhere here in Australia. In America, it will be June 5th, 2015, obviously this year. It's going to be an exciting fight. Lance, thank you very much for coming on the show. We're excited to see what happens.
No problems. Be looking out for that silver thong after Boss talks to me.
That's it.